It's a bright sunny day, the sun was burning, and immediately after the ceremony, a great wind arose and started bringing dark storm clouds in that covered the mountain, and there was thunder and lightning, and then there was torrential rain. And after a while, it turned into hail. And then even later on, it turned into
thunderstorms hit the Judean region in Saudi Arabia. Almost 180 millimeters of rain fell in 3 hours. The amount of rainfall was so high that it led to severe flooding. Many roads were destroyed by waterfalls. Dozens of cars were stuck in the water. There were no reports of casualties. The National Meteorological Center warned of thunderstorms that will hit most regions of Saudi Arabia in the coming days. Any broad is completely research.
Can you look at the screen and tell me when I got that?
When you have it what?
In some cases, the temperature dropped by more than 25 degrees Celsius in the new college.
Level what? I want the TV not this way. I want it level.
The Red Sea cold. The thickness of the ice was so great that escalators were needed to build the road.
The other way.
Ice cold river flowed along some streets. There were no reports of casualties.
So little did I know that Abilene got its drainage system from Arabia. I didn't know. I mean, I thought it was pictures of Abilene. I think, oh, it goes too long. Too long. Good afternoon. My name is Jay Ledbetter. I'm the Rabbi of Roeh Israel. Miles, Dr. Miles Jones, has graced us with his presence tonight. He's going to also be at Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh tomorrow night, beginning at 6. It'll be some might want to try to I'm going to be football. Yeah, most of it will be new. So I have gotten to know Dr. Jones in the last few days. He's staying with us at our home, being Catholic. What a delightful man and a delightful lady. Oh my goodness. But I don't want to take up a lot of time talking about that. He's come today to help us understand some things that we probably haven't heard about. And let me just suggest the two Baptists on the back row. You might want to move up. Don't get there's lots of open chairs up here. And there's no, I'm looking, there really is no blood on the carpet. So I'm thinking maybe it's safe.
Always calling people in the back row.
Yeah. That's what she said.
I'm no longer a Baptist, so
Many people are recovering from one affliction or another. So what I would like you to do is to join me in welcoming Dr. Jones.
Thank you very much. This is really a pleasure to be here. We just got back from Sinai, and we're doing
That mic is for the recording, but it doesn't fix the room. So you're gonna have to pretend that you're well at Mount Sinai. Yeah.
In any case, we just got back from Mount Sinai, and luckily we just happened to take the film crew with us. So we're taking them through to document the evidence of the Exodus at Mount Sinai. I wrote a book about it. By the time I went there, we found more evidence. We got to see things on the ground. This was totally unplanned. I want you to know. My wife and I have been engaged for more than 2 years. We decided to get married at the base of Mount Sinai in Arabia. We had not planned to do this. It just came together, so we were there. You read Exodus 19, it says on the third day, clouds came in from the mountains or thunder and lightning. This was the third day. The third day is Tuesday. Sunday is the first day, Monday is the second day, and Tuesday was the third day. That was not planned either. Right? Nor was the Ketubah ceremony. That was not planned. But this is a ritual that has not taken place at this mountain since 3,500 years ago. And the first time it's been taken by a new covenant. So it was historical in that respect. Now, don't be sending reminders with every group that goes in now. We got under the line. We went in an expedition. We crossed the desert to Mount Sinai, bumping across the desert in our Land Rovers, and that was a fabulous experience. But they're building the city of Neon so fast, and they're prepping this as a tourism site. In the 10 days we were there, we drove out literally on paved roads. The last expedition to do that, so we got a number of wider. Now they will have mentors, not because what we did, but they will prevent any kind of overt religious ceremonies on the much less people doing that. So the group that was with us, mostly they were people from our translation team at the B'nai Emunah Institute. So they asked if we could all do the ketubah ceremony together, because, Yehovan's relationship with us is that of his bride, and Yeshua that is his bride. We didn't do it. People sat back the night making copies for everyone's room. We had their own ketubah documents, and we three times from Exodus 19 to 24. We all agreed to do whatever it is that Yahweh has commanded at the mountain to do. We obey all the commandments of Torah that He has mandated for us. Well, so far so good, right? We're the right. So we're up there on the mountain, and immediately after the ceremony, a great wind arises and begins blowing clouds out. Right? We just barely gotten back. We stopped 20 minutes to walk down from where we are, get our food, our lunch, our wedding lunch, our wedding luncheon on the paper plate. The wind comes up, blowing our hats off, blowing our plates out of our hands, and it starts blowing in these clouds, and they get darker and darker. And there is thunder and lightning. And then the clouds cover the mountain, the top of the mountain. So all that film came from Sinai the same day. Then it starts to rain, and it's a torrential rain. Like, your hand up there. That happens in Texas. It doesn't happen in Saudi Arabia. I've looked at it twice, never seen it rain. The driest place on the mountain. So we're on the mountain. There's been some weather down south. But after this, all that weather moved up to the north. It started to rain, then after the torrential rain, it started to hail, and then even later it started to snow. All in the same day, the same weather event. But this is a remarkable series of events. And when we got back, we were telling people about this incredible, miraculous weather events that happened after a ceremony. Really? You should go online. It's still happening. In the days following, the weeks following, there was flooding, there was massive flooding all over Saudi Arabia. There was massive flooding on the day of the ceremony. And later on, there's massive flooding in most of the major cities, down in the south, even up in Taima and Riyadh. Saudi Arabian initiative is huge, all over the region. Okay? It's probably about 2/3 the size of the United States, the United States. There was flooding in Oman, there was flooding in Yemen, there was flooding in the south of Arabia, there was flooding in the Negev desert of Israel. And people having to be rescued, people dying in the floods. They're getting washed off and having to get rescued. Yahweh was taking every arrow he had in his quiver to let us know, I heard you. I heard what you said. And the first time that oath of obedience that's ever been done since the first month. Since the first time. So I didn't expect all that, but we all kind of was blown away. We're still trying to process it. Not only that, I got married. I'm trying to process that.
And that's also a miracle.
Yeah, that's a divine miracle. Catherine, would you like to share anything?
No,
Did you show them the belt, the belt?
Well, at least at the context, there's no dominating thing,
All right, so we got married in our hurricane boots, and we're up on the mountain. We did have like shirts. We had an Esther belt that had been given to her by a friend. Every time this belt was worn, something miraculous happened. Well, she had that on at the time. I wanted to share with you some of the things about Mount Sinai. Well, it was important because of the events that were there, but now it's not important anymore. You know, the focus of the Holy Mountain moved to Mount Zion. That is true, but to say that Mount Sinai is no longer important, it is totally wrong. And when you share some things with you that you don't know, it would be kind of fire hosing you, but I'm going to do it anyway. You can see the cave of Elijah. You can tell that, right? And the cleft in the rock and the top, you presume that's where Moses did and saw God processing the women. And then there's an even higher peak just off to the left with the blackened top. There's a plateau with the plateau of the other. Basically, everything that it says in scripture that is there is there. There's a stream coming out of the mountain that goes right down by the altars that are set up. Everything that it says in scripture. You can find incredibly important. Inscriptions from Sinai reveal an incredible secret of the Bible. The writing of God by the finger of God is the first alphabet. So that's two things. We found inscriptions at the base of Mount Sinai. That is where I first translated or my book of writing of God and the footprints of Israel. So all those things were there. And they revealed they are written in the earliest alphabet of letters known to linguistic science. It's called Talmud. Now it doesn't have anything to do with the Talmud, but it does have to be the Bible. You know, the sons of Anak in the Bible, they're specified. Abilene, Sheshai, and Talmud were the sons of Anak, and they were each a tribe. Now the tribe of Abilene and Sheshai were destroyed in the conquest by Joshua. The tribe of Talmud, who was called Thamud, in Arabic, fled into the desert. And so they thought they were the ones who did these inscriptions. So I went through a lot of trouble to follow their whole story to show that they came later. They were not the ones who wrote these inscriptions in the desert, but still the letter symbols known in linguistic science. So that's where my credentials lie. I'm a biblical archaeologist, in particular a historical linguist. I translate ancient manuscript from inscriptions. So this writing of God is the earliest alphabet known to man, and there's a lot more detail that goes into showing that, but it's all in the writing of God. So I suggest you get a copy before you go, because that's an extremely important thing. God gave us the most important innovation in human history. The alphabet. It allowed us to record things and have generations of people build technological progress. Those who knew two languages could translate it into another language and adapt that language to their own, adapt that alphabet to their own language. One thing I knew before I got into this is that there's only been one original alphabet. All alphabets, like it was an undo time and tongue, all alphabets sprang from that one original alphabet. Interesting fact. Well, I knew this, I was fascinated with this since I was a university student in college. And so I've really done research on it throughout the years everywhere I was posted, and especially in the Middle East. And it turns out what I did know about it is that original alphabet appeared. So when I was commanded basically to go find the enemy's text, that actually that was my question. Could this writing of God be the earliest alphabet? Because they did not have a writing system at that time, 1500 BC. So what did they write the Ten Commandments on? Never hieroglyphs? Or did they use this early alphabet that God had given them on the tablets at Sinai? Well, it turns out that was exactly the case. All the evidence lined up to show that to be true. And he commands us in Exodus that you shall read this and write it. Now remember, he sent us to an illiterate people. He provided a system of writing for an illiterate people, and a system of law. The law is the word and the writing of God. It's the message and the medium of the message, both things. When given to us on Mount Sinai, we get it about the message, right? What we have lost track of is that the meaning of the message, the alphabet, he also gave us on Mount Sinai on these tablets. Now, I didn't find the tablets. But you know, okay, that was your first question. Not from the tablets. But you can see that the letters were also numerals. So not only gave us a system of writing, he gave us a system of numerals. In fact, there's a book called Numbers. If you've ever read it, it demands pretty advanced calculating abilities of the paper. And you add, subtract, multiply, divide, counter reckoning, portions, fractions. So they do pretty advanced mathematical things. Building a nation, he's educated a nation, universal literacy comes from Mount Sinai. The elites didn't want that. They wanted to be able to keep all the power themselves. Knowledge is power. They're the ones who agree. They're the ones who right. The truth. They did not want everybody to a nation of priests. He's not the reason why. Right? This is the medium carrying the message. The other priests, right? Carrying the word. So we're going to connect the dots. The alphabet and the Israelites go together. So everyone goes, the other goes. So this allows us to trace them, to follow their path. They leave these little breadcrumbs. They leave these inscriptions along the way. Right? Now, these letter symbols came from hieroglyphs. So they took, scribes, even like Hebrew scribes, took the hieroglyphs and they used some of the characters to represent the 17 languages. They started out as pictographs like alphabet. When you start looking at pictographs, you can see the little guy, and everybody's doing this. Hey! Are you up there? What are you doing? That's what to do. Right? It is the head. We need the H in our language. We're gonna follow this from Egypt all the way to the promised land. Wherever the alphabet goes, the Israelites went. So that's our guide we're gonna carry. You can see it in the Egyptian hieroglyphs, it is, and the Roeh whole characters where they try to simplify this set of graphs, and then the proto-Semitic characters that were done by the Hebrews at various places. Now, so every guy has lost his head. It's more of a symbol now. So they're in the process of becoming symbols rather than, we say that Luxor. And we got this, the oldest ABCs known man, the Halahan alphabet, and that is behaves. That's how we go to God. Right? I want you to notice another thing there, see triple hash mark? They're used as a letter to it in the alphabet. That will come up again in triple hash mark. All right, here's our little guy on a Sphinx at Abilene, where most of the earliest alphabetic inscriptions were found. And this is in what's now called the Sinai Peninsula, which was named on the presumption that Mount Sinai was located. Mount Sinai is not located.
Right.
These are hieroglyphs from the top down below. You have that little proto-Semitic. The Jews are doing this. They're writing their own language, borrowing some signs from the So the Egyptians used this little guy, we're calling him. Did we give him a name? Like him, Boris. Okay, so this is actually called the Sinai hieroglyph because it was principally used in the Egyptian language in the Sinai Peninsula. That's Abilene. And you can see in the pictographic alphabet over here, the simplified characters, you can see under the diamond there. And so we know what it came from. That's known. I could do this for practically every letter of the alphabet, but one should suffice. So you can see, so you can follow our little, you can follow for us the history across the region. This is the Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh stone, probably the oldest artifact that will ever be found that has been in Brahma. I translated this. It probably would have never gotten out of Arabia if there's no other side. Probably would have been rounded up. You see on the right, the circle on the stick. Guy, we recognize him. He has lost the seven of that. And then over here you have the bottom, the Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. So you kind of do it around the rock in a circle until you got complete. So you wrote left, correct there, and then right, left. So that was the intention of that. They also wrote horizontally on that side and vertically. This is the biggest mistake of early writers have taught. They wrote hundreds of things. You read right. They plan their specs. Oh no, I only got a quarter inch top and I got just this symbol. That's very, very common. These are the letters you go ahead on. There's no doubt in that. You can see the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm zipping forward 1,700 years, all right? So you're going to get one flash when you go through a tunnel. Here we are, almost 2,000 years later, the Dead Sea Scrolls, you can still see them in the net. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. There's lots of little frames that we have in the bottom. See that represented the trunk to the bottom, but then it became like that, with just the little frames to represent. You can see the last symbol, it's kind of like a colon, and then everything off it. So now it's happening. And a lot of these symbols were borrowed by the Greeks, and then by the Romans, and then by the English, and became the letters that we use today. And the Dead Sea Scrolls, 2,000 years later, you can still see our little guy again, following in the steps of the Israelites. Now this is something. This was done during the time of the Exodus. You see our little guy there? You know what this says? It's written in Hebrew or in Semitic. The overseer of the gyms is Sinai. When Moses went through the area doing all the Hebrew, guess what? All the other tribes decided they were doing this too. So it was a mixed multitude of the Bible. They all went, and this Yehuda, and in the cutting of stones to set them, I've given the job to Yehuda, the son of Ahisamach was the overseer of the gems at the mines, the turquoise mines that Sarah and so he was the one who cut those stones. And then nice and fancy, and more valuable than the piece of rock. So he would have taught that skill to his son and going out in the elementary. And so, isn't it great to have this stuff and have actual physical evidence of the truth of the Bible story of the Exodus? And that's where they'll get to children in university and try to strip them of their faith. This is what they used to attack the Exodus. They'll say the Exodus. There's no evidence that that ever happened, and if it did, it happened in the 13th century, and we have to look in the 13th century rather than the biblical language of the 15th. There's no evidence of that. In fact, Jericho is not even inhabited. Ha ha ha! The miracle is that the Israelites conquered a city that wasn't even inhabited. It was totally destroyed 200 years before. Right? So they get very derisive. You obviously, this is not news to you, is it? The academics, if they have to prove the Bible is enough. And if they can, that's what they do. Okay, so if the Bible is an inaccurate history of the Exodus, and they do believe that they have proven that, then what does that say about its medicine? Well, obviously that must be inaccurate too. What if the Bible history is accurate? What does that say about the message? So I just want you to know, they think they have this one pat, but they don't. I've done 10 years researching it, and I can tell you the evidence is there. The biblical history is there. It takes a lot of work, a lot of chronological work. We can now replicate things like lunar eclipses and solar eclipses can be one in October in Texas. And then another one next day in Texas. Actually, that one actually crosses my property. So you can not only can you predict, and this is just mathematics of this. You can also replicate, and so I have ancient records accurate enough. We can replicate. So we give it an exact day, the year, the month, the day, the minute, even the second. All right, so what is that? That revolutionizes the ancient historical timeline. So that's what we have done. So is academia happy with that? Of course not. It throws their whole system of guesstimation out the window. You be the judge. This is absolutely scientific data that proves the history of the Bible is accurate. If it wasn't, I would tell you so. You probably wouldn't invite me here to tell you that, but I would say so. If I thought it was, and I went into this research with a completely open mind, if it's struggled up by the hands of men along the way, then that's what I'll say. Instead, I found that the history of adopting Exodus happened exactly as you expected. And they began to prove it, including the chronology, which is extremely. This is an inscription from the base of Mount Sinai. And you can see our little guy so far from Egypt to Surbit Abilene. Now Mount Sinai, which is in Arabia, it's in Midian, it's in Arabia. By the way, that's where the Bible says it is. And I found that most of the time, church tradition from scripture is people believe what the person at the pulpit and authority tells them, and they don't bother to research it themselves. But now in the past decade or more, we've seen a slow accretion of evidence you just start to pile up because the real downtime. Most people know that, which is a huge deal. They move the meter on the world opinion of this thing, which is what we've done with the right of God. Now, of course, I'm not the only one saying this, but we have provided evidence for it. Back when everybody was still derisive and laughing, and they still are, but they're doing favor because history is pointing at it, that we can have saying the truth on all the people that can't adjust and can't recognize the truth. I think that's kind of a generational change. See, because someone's reputation is built on this, and denying the Exodus, they're not going to change. But eventually they will move on. One way or the other. They will move on, and the new generation will come in, and they will be open, more open to the truth. This is the latest piece of evidence that has stacked up. I know many of you make this, very different. Yes. And I interviewed Scott Strickland on this, and when they were going into the promised land, Moses said to Joshua, he said, hey, you're going in, it's like a gate. Now, there is him and involved going through the valley. And so put the blessings on Mount Gerizim. That's why the Samaritans chose that site in the middle. And put the curses on Mount Ebal right across the valley. And they did this music thing. I wish we had it. I'd like to see it. Six tribes went up Mount Gerizim during the and tribes went up Mount Ebal. And the ones on Mount Gerizim chanted with curses, the blessing that walked the battle. And the tribes, the six tribes on Mount Ebal, chanted the curses back before the valley. Tell me that doesn't seize your imagination. It's one of the most incredible things that I've ever read in the Bible, that they actually do. Right, so what was on Mount Ebal? Okay, so the law, these curses are in Deuteronomy 28. And so what would you expect when I'm written on Mount Ebal? The very best. You say the curses, you're right. Right? We have cursed habits on Mount Ebal. Cursed habits, and they had the time, right? Yud-Heh and Yud-Heh-Vav, which would be Yahu, which is one of the short ones for the name God. Yahu and even Yah is the shortest one. That one is used in the Bible like very definitely this is the meaning of God. In fact, I've been thinking about, I'm struggling with that. So that is, and this is the same character, right? What you saw? from the Bible, straight from the Bible. All these things speak of things that come straight from the Bible. And I'll share something about it because we want to talk about what is that Mount Sinai in Arabia. And this is Mount Sinai. The footprints of you. Mount Sinai. In fact, when they're watching, they tried to sign marking their territory. It says in Scripture, wherever the soldier of you shall tread, that shall be your territory. Look what it was the high points. So you remember those? You saw that black sword? Look at them. Here they are. Very clearly used as an alphabetic letter. This inscription says, "I Abilene." Now, you see the two offsets up above them? That's from the pictographic alphabet. Those are owls. But these down here, they're symbols. So they're not pictures. So you're seeing the actual changeover from doing the pictograph to doing the letter symbol that happened at that time. It took a while for everybody to get used to it. See, some of them are still writing in the pictograph period on now Levi, right? But they eventually got it. Those three hash marks are from the letter I, which is the head, modern sound. And it comes from the curve, the hollow, the palm of the hand. And then actually, it's also not the palm of the hand, but the inside of the palm of the hand. Literally the palm of the hand of the soul. Good. So what are they doing? They're marking these sorts of just as they're commanded to do. That's the first, deliberate act of wisdom. Trace and place, replace and trace the footprints, and to mark them with an alphabetic pattern and say, these are the sorts of Jimmy had called the ones who found these pictures in South Carolina, in Arabia, and many people that did more than the same. Instead of dragging how long it took me I don't know. I'm trying not to drag you. So these are inscriptions that were at the base of the mountain. And they're sorted out, they're perfectly detailed. And this one says, and this name comes straight from the Bible. The last line down there says, Hagar is Mount Sinai. I'm sorry, it said died. Okay, I'm not saying this is that Hagar. She was the matriarch of the region. Her son was with She was the matriarch of the region, so there have been many people named and Hagar is no longer ready. That's a pretty direct connection. You sit there, what did you say? You find that name outside. Who knew? This next one is this one. This one says, "Died Amaya Bat." And the Bat is absolutely Hebrew. Sometimes you can't necessarily tell from names. But in this case, this identifies the absolute people. The religion daughter is different from all that. Amaya Bat. And then there's one more. Died at Abilene. Story becomes straight from the page of Exodus. The Amalekites were condemned by God because they were weak and the weary, the women that did not have that protection. They wanted perfectly to camp. They would jump in, break rock, kill those people. And they were condemned by God. And they came out and they fought with the Amalekites and killed them. Those things. And this one said died Ammonites. And they were all in the groupings, and they managed to frequently find to kill the Amalekites that probably killed Hagar and his mother, but not in the United States. When we went there with a team, archaeological team, to document the evidence. And we found more inscriptions. Worried about it being opened up to the public. You know, the Dead Sea Scrolls, when they first came out before, you should buy a scroll for $3,000. Can you imagine buying one of that now? That's right. You're lucky you can get one for. So I'm worried about these inscriptions and finding out why we went to document them, because these are almost 2,000 years older than the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they're biblical. They speak of biblical things. So why not just come by in a pickup truck and pile them all in the back? What if they were? You know? That's the point. Now, the need is absolutely priceless. The oldest alphabetic inscriptions ever speak of things that happened one day. I don't even want to estimate what things would like, and I would hate for somebody in a pickup to come along and put them all in the back of this truck and get them. So that's what we're going to do. And these are not been translated yet. We just got to. If you want to know where the views came from, because it's very clear there were thousands of people there at Mount Sinai. In fact, there's a huge cemetery. Unknown to people come from. They were writing these inscriptions and making these footprints there at Mount Sinai. It's very remote. Not anymore, but it was very remote. Well, if you want to know that, you look at their cultural icons. You know, you look like that. You look at their cultural icons. So you can see the process here, going from the rather laborious task of tracing and placing of the things. That's like that. You probably have a lot. You may have a metal instrument to do it. So if you look from that, you just put in the letter symbol. That means the same thing. You can say one from that up and from the other. So you can see them simplifying. In the process of simplifying it, that's what turns the pictographic alphabet into an alphabetic letter. Simplify. It's easier to write. So you see that happening right there. Here's a good example. You all see the eye of Yud-Heh-Vav. And many of these people came from Egypt. So they're basing this on the cultural icon that we all see the eye of Yud-Heh-Vav. And I knew this was the ID in the circle, which means eye. But I knew that, but I didn't know what that mark on the top was, or it's that icon. And they're doing this on the cultural template of the all-seeing rock. Well, that's Sinai. This is done at Mount Sinai right here, but it is an exact copy. Look at that one. You see you've got an acrobat there grabbing onto the home angle, and another one who's just somersaulted over the boat. The boat's going to try and throw you. You use that push off and jump over and back. But look here. That whole row, horn. You just leap over and do that. This is exactly the same picture. And this picture occurs in only 4 places in the world. Person Crete. Well, it came from the Apostol, which are in Egypt. There's Person Crete, that's the Person Crete. There is also one that's found in Mycenae in Greece, and the other one is found in Mount Sinai, the other one is found in Bars in Goshen. You want to know where these people came from?
Goshen.
That's where they came from. You can see acrobats and going by the glories for all the little farms. You see that? This is pretty solid evidence. We wonder if the smoking gun happened. And that footprints have been written in alphabet, captain letter, alphabet, letter, inscriptions, which people think out of the pages of Exodus. We have the cultural icons that go back to Egypt. We trace the footsteps on the right hand. This is not lightweight evidence. I am qualified in the field. I'm a biblical archaeologist, historical linguist. I know science. This is really powerful evidence. So, the academic establishment is going to embrace it any day. They are really dug in and entrenched in their anti-religious people. You're not going to do that. And once Satan's in, he's in. They're not going to, don't argue anything. Scott's brethren who did that, now he bought us the nation. Oh, they're attacking him viciously. And we found in the scripture, in the name of God, in the alphabet, that's not a ball. Right? Exactly what you would expect to find here. And they're screaming and howling, no, couldn't possibly do that. Oh, it's exposed down and dirty. Okay, but that's what they do. Okay? So, in the case of this stout resistance from academic establishment, always have to question what really sure that was the law. And India is not my fault. But that's the problem, because we know we're getting younger. We come with the golden treasure, it's a good thing. I don't want to disappoint. When we were in our bedroom, we uncovered the archives of the Hebrew coins. It's a priestly tribe, Hebrew priestly tribe who lives in the land. Now, this is, I got to admit, it's really pretty cool to hold a book in your hand that is pages a week ago. That is pretty cool. To be honest with you, I don't care about the religion or not. I'm weird in that way. The first thing I noticed when informants brought these books to me was this. Remember our little guy? That's him right there. The Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. See? That's him. He's been educated. You can see him there, can't you? And it's still got a little flange on it to represent the trunk of the body. We have a team, like the Name Iraq Institute, and have specialists who trained from all over the world, really, and they dug into this, and in 10 days they managed to crack the code and Passover especially with so you're getting it for free. But then those letters say I shall Yeh-Heh-Vav, and I shall give thee ark. And the mountain of God is one. It cannot be broken. This generation has planted seeds of faith. Yeh-Heh-Vav is the seed. Words on the left by my son. Mitzrayim, which is the Hebrew word for Egypt, has been spoiled. So this is a pictographic representation of the history of the Hebrews. This is another word book from a different source, but obviously from the same time. From Arabia, same lettering. And that signet, which would be the signet of their tribe, says the name of the house of Yah. This is another signet. This is a rabbinic pareza. It's a lead box. It's all lead. And it says air on the top of it. It's an heirloom box. And this is the signet of the Clarissa. And there's a serpent beneath the feet of the north. Most of the books were lead. Some of them were too old to open. The writing on them is from around it's Herodian period, which is roughly 100 years before and after Yeshua's movement. So it's in the same ballpark. The first century, BC, the first century, the time when the Herods were king. You can see some of the pictorial representation of the history here. You got a broken wall up at the top. What does that represent? The shofar. Any guesses? Then you got a pyramid down here. There aren't any in front of you. You've got a menorah and a central column. In the back of it, they identify the writing seeds of the same. Someone remember who they are is? Yay! The high priest order was Tzaddik, and they tangled with the Pharisees basically and lost. And they were probably associated with the Tzaddik of Sadducees. And they tangled with the Pharisees and lost, and they disappeared, and their scriptures were probably destroyed. They did that right. And there's the last book of Noah and Tzaddik, which is a separate thing. So these writes and books with we don't know that yet. It's an extremely important time. It's not just because of what open the many parades are you know that historically it's not made up. So it opens up a history that has yet to be uncovered, and that has to do with the Hebrew history of the Arabian. And something you probably did not know, the patriarchs came from Arabia. This is an inscription. I think Abraham came out of Arabia. First they went up to the two rivers area, a little bit of information that you probably didn't know. There was a kind of a trip in the Earth's axis about 15,000 years before, in the BC period. And so all the monsoon rains that usually dump the water on the coast of India went across the ocean and dumped all that water right straight up to create the Arabian wetlands. We know that. And the job of Jonah is putting this out. They found hippopotamus remains in Arabia. And the remains of thousands of them. So vast grasslands. We have vast grasslands, you have vast herds. When we have vast herds, you have lots of tribes of humans that are living off of these herds. And off of these herds. So it starts, it's drying up, it's kind of shifting back and it's slowly drying up. And all of these people are coming out of Arabia. I don't know, shoot, I don't even know the Bible, all these people, the Arameans, the Chaldeans, the Amorites, are all coming out of Arabia. Where are they coming from? Arabia cannot possibly support this many people drying up. First they go to the two rivers area, the kind of pictures, like Abraham and then move on and extend further out. But remember, they sent back to the two rivers area to get for Isaac and Jacob to get bribes from their tribe for their sons. They've got the patriarchs coming in with the area. Remember that Mount Sinai is located in the area. And now we have the archives of the big forays, and there were other people tribes in the area. just a long and important Arabian connection to the Hebrew. Now, I believe that Yud-Heh-Vav wants that up. That is the story of, some questions, comments. You could- Yeah.
In the pictures that I've seen that you have of where, I guess the altar where they would have put the calf, there's a bunch of pictures of, or pictographs of the calf. Is there any other writing on there that's actual words, or is it just all pictographs?
Not there.
Not there.
There's no inscriptions there. But they're pretty close to us. If you're an Egyptian culture, the bulldogs, pictures from there, that was in there. And there's another one of the goddess Hathor suckling the god Horus. Underneath the cow, being suckled. So that's very, very interesting. I'm kind of all to have that. So, cattle are pretty common. They're pretty common. They're not common in the area because they've done a lot of things. And it's not now. Back then it was a little more. So, but then you do have inscriptions. Question, comments? If you guys can think of that, you guys ask me to put
I remember several years back watching a program by Simcha Yakovlevich. He called himself the Naked Archaeologist. Huh? I'm not sure. It's been quite a while back that I saw it. But he was talking about this cave in a area where there was a lot of copper, and there was all these inscriptions on inside the cave, and they were in Hebrew.
And there's some good things about that. They did a very poor job of locating that sign.
Yes.
They said it's a hard copy, and actually it's not.
Yeah.
But that is of interest to you. Tim Mahoney series of films, the patterns of evidence. And he's on his sixth film, I think, but the next one, he'll be at Mount Sinai and he talks about the same evidence. He filmed before 15 years ago.
Right.
Just waiting to go on and read and do it.
Yeah.
But that is, it's really the best documentary.
Yeah.
On the Exodus, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And he just put out the second volume of Journey to Sinai, where they talk about the route and why we switch, what are the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you look at and examine all the other times, so you
Yeah.
know all the others. That's, they do a lot of good things. They have been about the writing, the Hebrew writing as the earliest.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Because I did that, and it's great to see other people chiming in.
Yeah.
So did David Rowe and others. So that's all good. It was very good.
Yeah.
That was somebody who really wrong. And then you're backed up by every further discovery after that.
Yeah.
That's what you said. I mean, I tell you when I started this, I thought, physical evidence of the truth of the seminal event of the life. And now it's like a physical instruction,
Right.
The church is going to go wild over this. So it could very surprising wrong. I really had a wonderful time with Rabbi Ledbetter. We had a wonderful time.
While these people drink, let me, I was aware of the previous expedition there, and a friend of mine was up on the mountain, when you couldn't go, the Arabians had put a fence around it, and they had blocked it off because, well, they knew what it was.
Yeah.
And so, but he's not got a place to stuck inside, and it's a incredible story, but the bottom line is that when he was talking to me about it, I wasn't all that convinced. I said, come on, in case you don't know me as a skeptic. That's proven to me, I am doubting Jay. Yeah. So what he did was show me pictures of up on my beach switch by my fire. And, you know, George and I see what I've done beyond. And I said, well, why couldn't that be volcanic? Let me just tell you, my first degree I got in college, my 15 minutes was geology. So I get it. It makes you a super tourist. But the next thing it does is it allows you to say, come on stuff like that. And I say, that can be volcanic. Come on, it's right there in the Rift Valley. Come on, all this stuff going on. And he showed me another picture and said, you have a look at this broken rock. And I looked at it. It was black on the outside and brown on the inside. And I went, whoa, let me see that picture again. It can't be volcanic. And so, I mean, right now my hair's standing right straight up because we did just that back then. That mountain, in fact, that's the Arabs call it, the locals call it Jabal Musa, the house, the mountain of Moses. Duh. But I think God, and you can see it from satellite pictures, you can see a black spot on top of that. And I think God put his signature up there. I think he just wrote his name there. Everybody, I was here. Guys, by the way, these books are going to be for sale. So I know you're saying, gee, I wish I had 2 or 3 of those. Good for you. You got to go back there and see if you can. You can only buy half of them, but you need the other half of them. Buy everything that's there. Yeah, we'll have more.
We'll make sure you get them.
But once you exhausted all of the purchasing ability you have to buy his book, we would like to ask you to help us buy his room. Let's see, where did she go?
Is that the hat for donations?
The hat of Paul, you know. Well, I don't see her. Dale was here. But do you know the what we're trying to, how much you need to get? The room is $250. The room is $250, and that's not, it's like not $2.50. That's what we got. So to the degree that you can help us, you come. Yeah, you just walk right into it, girl. I'm soliciting contributions for the room.
Oh, yes.
So please, Chief Martin, talk about it, like, if you don't mind. This is Dale.
Oh, I'm Dale and James is right there. And we set up the rental for the room and it cost $250, but we had 2 groups take 1/3 of that. So you only need to make it $85.
That's it. That's all.
It's done.
That's it.
It's done.
Well, and anything that just, all, with Paul.
The hat.
Well, very well, do some sort of a gathering device, certainly not the trash can, but something that will gather up, and whatever we got left over, we will give to the Jones thing, okay? So, if there's more money than it takes for the room, then it will go covering on the church, we're not gonna have that. I'm a Jewish guy. When they pass a plate from me, that means take what you need. I'm saying, we don't do that in our congregation. Okay, thank you. And get some water in your bowl to dry.
You're all too dry.
You're just looking at, one.
He's so shocked. Gordon, will I bother you if I sit in that chair right there?
No, you're not gonna bother. My seat top.
No, you don't want to sit with someone. I just can't hear him. He's very soft spoken.
My wife was sitting beside me.
I'm moving up so I can hear her a little bit.
I'm the first one in the
He's very soft spoken.
My name is actually.
I'm doing good. Sir, I don't we came in the back because we had food. Yeah, we said the back.
I say it's indirectly to my body. Also, I have I was sitting there watching Braveheart, and at the end of the program,
We have two Gordons here.
I'm not exactly out.
Listen up. Kenny is speaking. Or you've got not working, so, you're wondering about it.
Okay, one other change to our previous announcement. The hat is right out. This, however, cleverly described as oatmeal-free pie box, is actually a lasagna box. And so this is what we're going to use to gather up the goodies. The purposes of trying to find them and then get it work. Oh yeah, special things. So, yeah, I'm gonna put it back here on the back.
Well, you might want to grab some snacks. Yeah. Grab some snacks. And take your seat.
Okay, everybody, get out. Sit down, we're gonna be doing the Lord's Prayer.
Okay, how about this? Okay. Okay, so grab some snacks and drink. And we're gonna start if that's okay with you guys, but don't hesitate to go get some lemons and rocks. I wanted to talk to you about the Hebrew gospel.
Oh,
So since the publication of the writing of God 10 years ago, we started working on the New Testament manuscript. It's true that the earliest gospel is actually written in Hebrew. Matthew is written in Hebrew. All the early church fathers said, but unfortunately, no manuscripts of it survived. If they ever existed, and experts today doubt that they existed. They don't doubt that they existed. They declare that they never existed. That it was all just a big exaggeration from the first. Right? Well, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh told me to go to find the earliest manuscript of the Gospels in Hebrew. And so this time, when they told me to go find the evidence Exodus, I whined a little bit. I didn't really know how that was gonna happen, but within a few weeks, the evidence was actually mailed to me. So that was amazing. So this time, you'd be proud of me. I did not whine to God. I did, yes, sir. I'll get on it right away. So I went to Israel. And I worked with the staff in the library at the University of Jerusalem. And there is a project that we set up called the Philanthropy Project. You see, the same church was declared to be heretic in the 4th century when Constantine set up the Greco-Roman Church. It was a new religion, a new Greek religion. It was different from the Judaic religion. They divorced themselves from the Judaic religion, and you divorce yourself from Moshe with them too, and that would be the Messianic church. Okay, so it was declared the Church of Yeshua HaMashiach, or, if you can understand this better, the Church of Jesus Christ was declared heretic by Constantine. And then they proceeded to burn all the scriptures. So for 1,000 years, there were no Hebrew manuscripts out there. There were some that survived, but they were hidden. It's called a thousand destroyed and Hebrew gone. That was their competition. You know, I don't know about you, but I have real trouble in accepting that the churches were so tapped into power that they would draw blood. But that is the history of the church. You know, they wiped out their competition any way they had. They could. It was about power, not of the churches. The Roman church is the church. You know, the Protestant church is the new church. Irish is the original church. Gay armies. Okay. So, but they weren't all, okay? You know, obviously some more were farmers and shouldn't count in salvation. And they cut the swath. There was pogroms and inquisitions and crusades and just blood drawn. Churches have drawn more blood than the government has. what really stopped democracy don't seem to want to import against each other. If the people get crazy and say, yeah, I don't want to go in there, that kind of thing. Not really to do it. Right? So democracy is good, it's going to form into each other. In any case, all the Hebrew manuscripts, and since they couldn't read Hebrew, they just burned all of them for 1,000 years. Then they discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are from the 2nd century. So now that was the first break. So now it was reduced to like 800 years. But that was to wipe out the Hebrew Great Heart of God. Right? So we're going to talk about it. Now I went to Israel, as I was told, and I found the first one. They have the Planetary Project, the Planetary gave money for them to do all over the world, all the libraries, and digitize any Hebrew manuscript that they have. Even if they didn't know what it was, they just put this name, this one, put it in there. Then they had go back to went through all this miscellaneous films to determine what they were, and he ended up finding, I think, 14 new
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
I found the manuscript I found was the Hebrew Gospel from Abilene, with Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John all in Hebrew. So that was interesting. So we're going to look at the prologue from Luke. Now these prologues were written by Jerome. Now it was a 15th century copy, but that's not really, you've got a Bible, right? What's the copyright? That was 1967, because I'm an old guy, and my grandmother Bible. So,
1611
that's not,
Yeah.
that's just last century.
in
right? How do we know
1784.
that that is accurate? Because you can follow it all the way back to the short copy. They're posted. You can follow it all the way back to the short copy. So that's what the real the authentication of it comes from the short copy. You can copy and copy and copy translate and copy and copy translate and copy. So the fact that it's a 15th century copy of these prefixes, these prefaces that were written by St. Jerome is 4th century. It had to be at least 4th century. So I got into it and started translating it. And we have ascertained that it came from a 1st century source. I'm not sure exactly how we did that. So the prologues are one of the markers of the Hebrew Gospels, because they generally say that it was originally written in Hebrew. For some strange reason, that never turned up in any of the Greek or Latin prefaces, that it was originally written in Hebrew. They never seemed to mention that. St. Luke was sincere. When the apostles began to go out to the world, many of them had written a narrative for the brothers in the faith, their faith family in Judea, right? And they looked at Hebrew because, contrary to what the spin that was generally sold about this, the Israelites did not speak.
Oh,
The
come on
conditions
now.
were just not there for them to learn Greek. You have to be in the middle of a bunch of Greek speakers who got constant input from it, and that just was not present. There were a few people who spoke Greek, yes. Paul did, but it surprised the centurion when it came down to 11. You speak Greek? Here, and it's true, you speak Greek. So Matthew did use a civil servant who was in the Bible. So there were some of the elite that spoke Greek, and you were telling the Rabbi Ledbetter. We're speaking Greek. The Romans in the church at Rome were Greek speaking church. Greek was the name of the Romans just arrived about 60 years ago, 60, 70 years ago. And they were still Greek speakers. So this one was written for, Luke was also originally written in Hebrew. And I'll tell you how I know that.
But the Hebrew gospel of Matthew was the original gospel, and the only eyewitness is John. The gospel attributed to John was edited by Luke. It's very clear it says so in the gospel. It doesn't say they did, but the original manuscript was engaged in the It's the only eyewitness account, and the only first-hand account, the only gospel originally written all in Hebrew. By far the earliest gospel, about 40, about 10 years after the crucifixion. And it's called by Jerome the authentic, sanctified word. He is the one, and Jerome is the one who translated from Hebrew into Greek and Latin to produce the Bible today. And did remain, and they're different. Now, the Hebrew gospel is, remember that when this whole thing started in the first century and for several centuries afterwards, this is a messianic affair, it's a messianic movement, a messianic business, a messianic churches. Right? There weren't any Greek followers, not in the time that these gospels were written. So when it talked about the Samaritan woman and the well, well, I know the Messiah is coming using the Greek form of the Messiah. I know the Messiah is coming, who is called the Christ. There were any Greek speakers. Why would anybody be saying that? In Greek, basically using the Greek name. Well, it was inserted. So that's a Greek name even back then. So it's like the word Christian is back there with it for the Bible. It wasn't used for at least 2 centuries later. And it began to be used probably 3rd, 4th century. But none of that was happening during the gospel period when these narratives were circulated. So we just kind of tweak it after they put it in the Bible, like the word Christian has always been used. They were always meeting on Sunday on the very first. So I find that to be very disturbing. Bible, and usually the agenda is about
Right.
So they tweet the Bible. I want you before the throne of God. I mean, really, it's terrible.
Right.
And it should, because I'm in the process trying to recover the original word, but the word I found needs to be the voice of the Father. His original word. It takes a lot of study, but you can't. If something is added in the 4th century and it didn't happen in any of the versions before, then it was added in the 4th century. And we should then do it. Right? So we can trace these things now that we have the Hebrew Bible. We can tell you what they say. Right? Okay, so here's the journey of the Hebrew Bible. The Romans brutally oppressed the Israelites. In a century and a half of war against Israel, which kept rebelling against the other oppressive rule. Israel and the Jews in the diaspora and on, just they had a really brutal method for bringing a revolution to a close. They would just go into Israel and they would crucify people that landed by the hundreds, by the thousands, line every road with them until people would stop without it. In that century and a half of war against Israel, they killed the same people as were killed in the home in proportion. And horrible, horrible, brutal. When the Roman Church together, does it that they themselves are asked on all of this and on the crucifixion of our Messiah? It was the Romans who they had taken capital punishment, the authority for capital punishment away from the Sanhedrin. It had to be the Romans today. They were polluting the priests involved, and they were guilty of sin. But then that massive people, but Yeshua and the Hanan, they were prophets. They
Amen.
were afraid. They're afraid of the people. The people who tried that. That's what the people. It was not the Jews. who killed the Messiah. It
Amen.
was the Romans. And now we have a Roman church, and they're preaching the Bible, and they're giving themselves a pass for the death of the Messiah, as they were innocent stewards. That's how it's meant. And that's just the way men do, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Lie, and they deceive, and they spill blood, and then they lie about that. So the Messianic church, in the early centuries, it was a very Messianic church. And gradually, towards the end of the second century, there were more Gentiles than there were Hebrews. But there's still that station and churches all over. And so the Council of Nicaea, when Constantine called all the bishops and all the Christians together, for some reason, it must have been a clerical error, he forgot to invite any of the Messianic bishops, of which there were many.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot. I'm sure that Sinai, I'm sorry to say.
Got lost in the mail.
Obviously, you know what happened there. So the Messianics were fleeing the brutal oppression of the Romans as were the Jewish followers. And they fled to Pella, which is part of the biblical story, about the slave, of the Pella. And then some of them settled there, and many of them immigrated to Sephra, which had Spain, which had the largest population of Jews and Messianic of any place in the world outside of Israel. And some of them went back once things cleared up and but mainly to Sephra, and that's where our journey comes from. The Hebrew gospel is actually in Spain, one of the Messianic Christians. At the time, they had this huge Jewish population, about 500,000, and more than half of it, a quarter of a million people, converted to Christianity. And they had the massive conversions. Many of them were poor, and most of them did it of their own free will. But they were kind of divided along the line. Some of them were for the church. The Roman church really didn't want. They didn't want those religions in their church.
Mm-hmm.
So many people were converted, but they gave them synagogue and rabbis converted. So they gave them the synagogue, and the rabbis became priests, and they had Messianic bishops, Messianic synagogues. This was not the church in this time. These people said, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to have the word in the Lashon HaKodesh, the sacred tongue in Hebrew. And the Hebrew Gospels were still extant at the time. They had been compiled early on in Hebrew, even once it originally were translated into Hebrew, so that the Messianic church would have the entire of the fact. The earliest compilation of the New Testament was a Messianic compilation. And it's somewhat ancient, translations of John and Acts were in Syria, and the libraries there, and many Jewish Christians were converted by reading it, at that. They got them in Spain, they carried them into Spain. I mean, the apostles, when they went out into the world, they carried them being all over the map. In Constantinople, in Yemen, and Africa, India, and China, all over the place. There are various historical manifestations that the Hebrew Gospel is in there. It's what the apostles didn't know. Matthew did. Paul did. I believe that they did learn to read and write, because education is such a predominant thing in Western Europe. Evangelization, education, and equality of those are the major things that you see in every and every Messianic congregation throughout all the years. Continue that, and these things become great evangelize. Even when there was a death sentence around with a school of martyrs and some martyrs, they knew they were going to be martyred, and they knew they were. And but they went out and they evangelized anyway, and spread the word. So the Messianics that were in Rome, in the Roman Greco-Roman church was consolidated, they left Rome. They were not to have anything to do with it. They were never a part of the Roman church. They were mostly Jewish Christians. Gentiles had mixed in by this time, and they went up to the north of Italy. And you have not heard this one. Well, who writes the history?
The victor.
The most powerful one, the winners.
Mhm.
So that the church history is written by Rome, right? And they don't mention any of these things. But they moved out to the north of Italy, and they created a seat of church government up there in the Piedmont and Lombardy, that area up there. The Messianics, they came to be called Waldensians later on. And so they were in opposition to the Roman seat in the south, the Roman seat of the church government. Their book, they were called the Italic seat. Their Bible was the Italic. The Italic was the earliest compilation of the Bible, other than the Hebrew, the New Testament, of the whole Bible, only the New Testament. It was really the second. The Hebrew was the first, then I had the Tanakh, and then the Gospel. But it was definitely Messianics who did this scribe, because they had to be believers in the New Testament that they're making the compilation of that. And they had to know Hebrew, because they were taking all of this from Hebrew sources that came out and the Hebrew Gospel. So they basically took the compilation that had already been done for the Messianic church, and they created one of them, and it's called the Icon, straight from the Tanakh and the Hebrew Gospel. It was done in 150 AD, that was very, very early. The ink was still wet on some of these gospel nations. And but still, it was early. So this Italic Bible was really very authentic, very early. And the Italians, they knew that. This was their Bible. About 100 years later, there was Abilene of Antioch. After all the destruction of Jerusalem and the destruction of Israel, the whole church moved up to Antioch mostly. Most of them did. Some of them went on to settle up in Antioch and became the center of evangelism to the Western world, and it was a Messianic affair. Lucian of Antioch was Messianic. How do we know that? Because he knew Hebrew. Who knows Hebrew that's not Hebrew? I mean, the number of people throughout history, you can count on the fingers of your hands and toes. Throughout the ages, that's one. So Lucian of Antioch compiled took this compilation that was and then Hebrew and Latin, and then he did a Greek compilation of Lucian Bible. It's called the Received Text, which was received by all the churches in the Greek-speaking world, which was the world, as the accurate, authentic version of Scripture. And so 20 years later, the Roman Church did another compilation. Why did they do that? I mean, they just had this great version that was accepted by everyone as being authentic. 20 years later, you know?
Hmm?
Yes. So they just put their down.
Right, exactly. Mhm.
And now we're not. 4th century was between 20, 300 to the 4th century. And then by the end of that century, we had Jerome recompiled the Bible in Latin. And he took it from the Hebrew, much of it from the Hebrew documents under great criticism. We didn't want him to do that. And then he did all from the Greek and the languages that he'd done with Hebrew. But he did it anyway. I think the thing that Calvin had a word now. were scripture silent, everybody knew that was the canon. And so, he created that, and it's called the Latin Vulgate. Now, you have probably heard all your life that Eusebius Greek version and the Latin Vulgate were the oldest compilations of the Bible. Has anyone heard that? And they were.
Yeah.
Because the Waldensians are constantly trying to destroy them and mass because they're burning literature. They've been spending like 1,000 years trying to burn out all the Hebrew gospels. They failed, but that's what they're trying to do. That's why there was the 1,000 years of silence, which you probably also found. And they went to the galaxy in the north side of Italy, which exists to this day, which you probably have not heard of. Something's going on here, isn't it? Someone's repressing the rest of the story.
Wow.
So according to the church history, after the, and this is historical fact, apparently that footnote church history is so important, but the Messianic church was the Trinitarians in the 4th century, and they did proceed to destroy them and to burn all the scriptures. Probably already like the 14 and forces outside the door. But you're starting to get that. What church is going into that kind of history. Oh, by the way, it was the church that declared the assembly in Yeshua himself, like Jesus Christ himself, that we had it. And according to church history, it was really, not really according to that. Does that make sense? Because we wait people who would die before they were made and then they did not go. They continued underground. And they many names that they were personality types, which they were not. They just considered themselves to be Christians. It's the church that was the majority of names and tried to paint them as a play the political past that they were busy studying. And I want to wonder how we find the church that is going to being persecuted and then they hurt me. I don't have to find them. The Roman church has been trying to find them all these years so they can wipe them out. I have just to follow where they go. And I can find them all. So that's what we found about their history. So, the journey of the Hebrew Gospels, the Gospels went with the Messianic. In Spain, they had this church that they formed 250,000 strong. Many of them were sincere Messianic believers, wanted to have the scripture written in Hebrew. And this was, they worshiped the Hebrew Messiah. That's what it was all about. You know, it's just clear as day to them, right? They're not priests. They had bishops, they had yeshivas. It was an amazing research into Messianic practice when the medieval time and Spain. This was not Roman Catholicism, was it? They saw this as an existential threat. And they grew up by means of Inquisition. This was all, you have the one thing saying in the middle of the Neo-Messianics, Neo-Messianics, Gentiles who have come out of the same tradition. Basically, although there were doctrinal differences, they wanted to restore the Messianic apostolic church of the first century. The Messianic. So they were the Waldensians who lived in Italy. They came from Jewish Christian blood, Messianic blood. And then you had the Cathars in southern France. They were Gnostic. But they were still real Messianic. I mean, great accomplishment. You had them there, and they were definitely real Messianic. Took over the church. Catholic churches were going more the southern plant that were just empty. Everyone went to Catholics because they were the ones who actually practiced it. The Romans got greedy and lustful and they stole things from the parishioners. It was what you might expect, from people who have knowledge. When you're dealing with people that don't agree with your doctrine, you're allowed to kill them. Never felt comfortable. That's the message you got out of the Bible. Is that the message that you show preach?
Not at all.
Okay, so they actually have the insert in the scripture, and doctrinal justification for that. And I will share that with you. I don't let me forget. Okay, so in secular, they have this resurgent Messianic church. And the Inquisition was formed to crush them.
Mm-hmm.
In southern France, the first crusade was to crush the Messianic. The first big crusade was to crush the Messianic. And in Italy, they kept, doing pilgrims against the Messianics, pushing them further back into the Alps until they got Switzerland, which became the heartland of Messianic activity at one time. And so they're really pushing back and trying to destroy the Messianic. So they fled Spain at the time of the Inquisition. It's absolutely Messianic. Everyone's heard of the Spanish Inquisition. Yes. But most people have not heard that the point of the Spanish Inquisition was to crush the Messianic church. And all of their victims were Messianic. They almost excluded the Messianic. So, I mean, when you've got a great incident like that, you're going to use it on a few other people, right? And when it was perfectly good Inquisition, when you have other so they fled, and Messianics started running along, they started burning 10,000 people of that year. They left. They were not allowed to do that. But they set up an international banking system. And they looked at so they just self-extended. Right? And they left and they did the gospel with them. And within about 50 years, something like that, those Hebrew Gospels that I have today ended up in the Vatican Library, down beneath another manuscript in Hebrew. Now remember, they were not teaching Hebrew anymore. They were dissuading people from studying Hebrew. So one zero Hebrew scholars. And Greek too, but Greek was, they had split with the Greek church at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they had these Hebrew documents, which they knew what they were. They sat in the Hebrew Gospels. They were put with a manuscript of 100 pages. They came to Sinai. They said that in Hebrew, right? So that sat in the Vatican Library for almost 100 years. And it was only found after the Holocaust in 1957. It was discovered after the Holocaust. It changed a lot of attitudes against Hebrew. I think a lot of people were really slapping things with the depth of the evil that had been facilitated by the church. Really, Hitler couldn't have done what he did with the church. Hitler did not invent anti-Semitism; he harbored it.
Amen.
And the church has been spreading for centuries, for thousands of years. Because why? Replacement theology basically comes to naturally be chosen people. We are Israel now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everything
Yeah,
else
whatever.
is all of the blessings. All the blessings are ours, right? Because the Jews killed God. They killed Jesus in their next religion, called him for that. Jews go back then and religion. So So this is what they were spreading. Only posing about which people like a lot of this came from. And so we inserted into the scripture and faith you guys make. John, and that's what attributed to John. We love God. And then we live to God. And we don't. We don't. That's the most anti-Judaic declaration you can get in Bible. And inserted so many, there's more than 60 person insertions in it. And those insertions into the Bible are done by the Greek editor. This conclusion, all right. So these ended up in the Hebrew Gospels ended up in Spain, and they left Spain. Well, they went to Spain and the library, and so read the time of the life and not out of the house. So the prologue of Matthew and the Hebrew Gospels also claim that it was written. First evangelist wrote this in the Holy Tongue from memory, the national practice of the Matthew 1:21, which will call his name Yeshua, for he shall save his people. This is the same word. The word Yeshua means salvation. That's it. Salvation. Now, for he shall Yoshia his people. Without change there, when we start to prove. No. But it's usually really lost in translation. This is one of the ways we know whether there's a Hebrew subtext of the manuscript, even when it's been translated to Greek. Because of the Hebrew idioms.
Right.
And is there any survivors these erroneous? So these are some of the markers we found in the Hebrew Gospels. The name of the Messiah usually derives from Hebrew, not Greek. So the Hebrew Gospels have erroneous Yeshua, it's got the Greek as only man. And we will not find many others it's Yeshua. By far, manuscripts we investigated the name is Yeshua. Enter Christ, you'll see Yahushua or Yeshua, but by far the vast majority are Yeshua. Hebrew Gospel of John. In the Hebrew Gospel, it says, in the beginning was the Son of Elah, and the Son of Elah, and the Son of Elah. What is it saying in the Greek? The word. The first time in the last time. And the Hebrew Gospel says it's. And the Rumak book is written in Rumak Bible, but it is translated from the Hebrew. This is a dramatic discovery that there is a Hebrew manuscript tradition in Europe and probably other countries as well. So it is that are different from the Greek. So we can look on a book like Rumak, which was done by the Edmonton, and they translated from the Hebrew. Obviously, it's got all the markers. In the beginning was the Son, and the Son was with God, and the Son was God. Hebrew Luke. Now, in Hebrew Luke, the first 4 verses are missing. Epiphanius talks about Luke as one of the Hebrew Gospels. He says in the Hebrew Gospel, the beginning of the Hebrew Gospel has this. In the days when Herod was king of Judea. Well, that's in Luke 5. Luke chapter 1, verse 5. But Hebrew Luke does not have the first 4 verses. So it starts in the days when Herod was king of Judea. Just like Epiphanius said in the 2nd century. This is how you determine whether this is an authentic book. Does it say what it says? It's what they say it said. There were probably about 75 different attestations of it in the writings of early church fathers. Nobody denied it existed because that would have been foolish. Everybody knew it existed. right? But among the 75 attestations, there are about 80 quotations from the Hebrew Gospel. You take those quotations and you see that the Hebrew Gospel can today. Right? Well, are things that were in there, are they in there? Are things that were omitted, are they omitted in the Hebrew Gospel? Well, in this case, they are. So exactly that's what I said. And we'll tell you why. We'll look at those verses. But here's the Vatican manuscript, Vatican Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh 30. It's a new manuscript that was discovered by the Gordon. And I've seen it. I held it in my hands and looked at it. And guess what? Here's the beginning of the prophetic Vashon says that is the first chapter, the beginning chapter. And it says, in the days when Herod was king of Judea, just like what the famous said, just like we had in the other Hebrew documents that one. Said there's a coincidence, and the other thing is that. One correlation is a coincidence, two correlations is a pattern. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did those first four verses say? Well, Luke was originally written in Hebrew. We know that because there are many quotations from it that come from Luke, come from Matthew. Right? But when they translated the Greek, they like double did inside. I am not saying that I definitely think this is the sacred word of God, minus anything you can add it in, because it's there. But we know what comes from the Hebrew and what doesn't. You can see the underlying subject in this one. And so did your Spanish teacher when you wrote your first essay in Spanish. A non-English thing. It was like English with Spanish words. So you can tell me something. But this is what it says in 4 verses. For as many as have taken in hand, right? Is that what the narrative of those things which are most surely believed? Even as they delivered them unto us, those who were from the beginning, were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. That would be the apostles, right? From the beginning, seemed to be known to write this copy for you, my dear friend. So he's saying he's writing a copy. If you receive manuscript, and now he's making his copy. That's what it says in the Greek. Okay, smart with you. So they're trying to really build up their own community. If you got 2 copies, 2 manuscripts, it's in Hebrew and Greek. The Greek says it's a copy. The Hebrew does not say it's a copy. Which one is actually the original copy? The one that does not say the dead copy. I agree with you. All right. So Jerome says that in the story in the Hebrew Gospel, the story of Barabbas, that's his Greek name. In Hebrew, it's called Bar-Rabban, the son of God. Barabbas is the son of the father. It's Greek. You see the Greek S on the end? Bar-Abba, or Ben Abba. Bar is an Aramaic word. Abbas is a Greek word. So Bar-Rabban. So we go, let's go down to Hebrew Gospel. And every limitation is Bar-Rabban. Only one Rabbi John. You believe that, right? It's Bar-Rabban. That's could be a coincidence, right? Is there any more proof than that? Now remember, 1 correlation is a coincidence, 2 is a pattern. Jerome also mentioned retained the earliest church tradition, not even the 1st century tradition, that during the crucifixion, when there was the earthquake, in the Greek text it says the curtain, the veil of the temple, the Holy of Holies, was split in 2. So in the Hebrew Bible, it says the huge lintel stone above the Holy of Holies, which had to be a huge stone because you would stack other stones on top of it to complete the structure. That cracked in half. Quite a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you need to determine authenticity. What would be ideal? Right? You have to have an early source that says this is different in the Hebrew Gospels than the Greek, And that can be an event like this, or even just for fiction, right? Like Ball of Arms that they have. Having multiple early sources would be better, yes. Having independent historical confirmation would also be good, right? And of course, that has to be in the Hebrew document. That's what we have. So we have Jerome, who is a credible early source, saying that in three instances, in Matthew 27, Mark 15, Luke 23, all of them mention this event. They say that the temple lintel cracked rather than now, keep in
Interesting.
mind, there's a lot of them. Well, so if the lintel is on broken out and double ground, it's going to tear the ground. Or it has some. So let's look at those.
But
in
not
Hebrew
today.
Gospel.
It's holy of holies.
So this was 6th Testament. In the Hebrew Gospel, we often mention, we read that the immense temple has been broken to pieces. In the Gospel, which is composed in Hebrew, we read, and not that the temple curtain was torn, but that the temple lintel of the side. Yeah. All right, let's take a look. You know what it says in Greek? This is what it says in Hebrew. Now I'm going to show you two versions of the Hebrew document. Right? Because I went to, I already found three versions of the Hebrew documents. And so I figured, there's got to be more. I've got three in my study in Critical Texas, so there's got to be more. So I went to Europe, I raised some money, went to Europe to find the Underground Bible. The first day I went to Cambridge University Library and found 4 manuscripts, beautiful and recovered. The same collection. We were all from Cochin, India. We're St. Thomas Cook, the Hebrew Gospels, and formed a church that still exists today, the St. Thomas Cook. So keep in mind, these two Hebrew manuscripts were separated. 2,000 years and 5,000 miles. This is what they say. The Cochin Gospels and suddenly the face of the entry of the temple was split in two from the beginning of building the earth and the heavens were covered. No ancient man was specifically talking about the entry stand of the temple. In the Hebrew Gospels in Abilene, here the temple was broken on both sides, up and down, and the earthquake and the stones split in the middle. Matthew 26 would be both verify what Jerome said about the temple. The stones themselves being split, mention of the Greek. That was what was important to the Greeks. It's a doctrine thing. It usually boils down to you're saying something in order to support a particular doctrine or agenda. Right? So they took this is divine declaration that we don't need to go through any of the Hebrew priests anymore. We have direct access to direct access. Boy, that Jerusalem thing, we have direct access. Okay, that was their thing. Now the Hebrews, the Messianic Greeks, seeing what goodness they got, and it was a wonder of the ancient world in terms of its magnificence and its structure and all. It was heavily demonized, but it was still an incredible thing to see. And you know, the apostles were showing Yeshua about the temple. You could tell they were like in awe. Was Yeshua in awe of it? You're not in the slightest. You see this? Not one stone will be left on it. Not. Mark 15:38 was Cochin Gospels, and the entry to the temple cracked after the start of the cult. Hebrew Gospel had an end of the temple was broken on both sides, up and down, top to bottom, and the back. In Luke 23:45 in the Cochin Gospel, so it was dark and split the entry of the temple The Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh had a lamp and the sun went dark and covered the temple and was split in the middle. No mention only of the stones of the temple being split,
Amen.
just like Rome said was the earliest Christian tradition. That was the earliest Christian tradition. This tradition. How do you like that? So in 40 years, this event foreshadowed the complete destruction of the temple, which happened 40 years later. So this desecrated the Holy of Holies forevermore after that. But the temple wasn't cashed out to these people. They were fleecing the people for so much money, it wasn't even funny. It had to go on, nobody was allowed in the temple anyway. Lacerated the cracks, and then banner or something, and fixed them into a stone, tried to repair the curtain, apparently they didn't have that architect. But, they were able to cover it over. Why wasn't there a report? He was in charge of it. Who were trying to cover it up. So this, do we have any of his outside historical confirmation? It would be the year of Yeshua's ministry, in the same earthquake, 40 yards from their temple was the majestic chamber of the wisdom of the Sinai. And it was so badly damaged by the earthquake that it was unusable. It was just too unsafe. They had to move. The Sinai had to move into the trading place where they paid the law. It was not even known living of sheep for anymore for that. Their judgment of Yeshua that morning, when they declared him blasphemous and condemned him to death. That he should be ruled to the Romans, and they should be talking to the crucified. This is the last judgment ever made in that injustice. That was God's testimony of the crucifixion of his son, Sinai, on the side. Of the temple in darkness. The earthquake that split the temple, the inner of the Holy of Holies, and the chamber of the same meetings that they could never use it. That's what's the Church opponent, the worst high priest in the history. All of his judgments were reversed. The decision to declare Yeshua being crucified by the Romans. The only one that did not reverse. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the gospel were written Let me tell you a story. Because, when you start to change God, you tweak it, you don't know what the consequences of that are going to be. You really don't. It's such not to do it. And there's a reason they said not to do it, right? I'm sure you know what it is. Not change. And it shows up here, and it hasn't been any of the versions that came before it. It was happening. Right? It was tweaked at that time. So it's not like you can't find out that it's a picture on the word. You don't have to do that. And I'll tell you, here's one. Here's one story. When Yeshua comes back, resurrected from dead, comes back and meets his followers on the road, he goes up and he says, God is our salvation. A variation of that is, well, that is one. Or may God be your salvation. It's another variation of that belief. It's a typical belief. You're required to use the name of God and the name of God of belief. Okay? It's very deeply believed. God is our salvation. I think it is specifically, may God be our salvation. Okay, so one of the things they've done to truth the Bible is taken away the name of God. Yeh-Vav-Heh, Yeh-Vav-Heh. Taking away the name of Yeshua. Taking away some very, very crucial words Or being one of them, nor is another one, they're not the only ones, there's some others. But, so they're taking the name of Yehovah, so that fact is really, right? They're taking the name of Yehovah. And then substitute a common Jewish and Roman military Jewish, which is all hail. And it's one that's landing the first introduction. Just in there. All hail. And this meaning, he adopted the Roman military salute and Nazi salute.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter.
Anything to
Because of the
poke the
adopted,
Jews.
I can assure you that Yeshua did not come back from the dead and leave his followers with the Nazi salute.
Just saying.
Paul, that's coming out. You never know the consequences of tweaking how true it's gonna be. So don't do it. And I won't do it. I'll try and find you exactly what they said. So this is a variation of God's plan idea, because salvation is visual in Hebrew. I want to share something with you. We're going to go to Sukkot, year 30 AD. And I want you to see a little bit. There'll be a blinding flash of light. Okay. Sukkot 30 AD, as they climax the reformed Feast of Tabernacles. This is in Numbers, by the way. No, I'm sorry. The Feast of Tabernacles. The high priest goes in procession and huge parade and liars and all the finest clothes, all people going in procession. They go into the pool of Siloam, and as it says in Isaiah, they draw the water of salvation out of the same water. Okay, well, that would be the water of Yeshua, the water of salvation. They would drink of the temple with, and then they pour red wine.
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew ritual, red wine
Represents blood. Yes.
So now there comes the blood of Yeshua. And this is the climax. That's just the regular one. They pour the blood of Yeshua onto the altar, and everyone assembled from all the corners of the earth yelled out in one voice, Yehovah Yoshiahim. Yehovah is our Yeshua. So does it not? So that everything we know about our evening Sinai comes to us with the good filter of another language culture. The translation is the nature of the beast. Something is going to be lost, something is going to be substituted, because no language can perfectly capture the culture of another language. Something is going to be different. It's going to be a filtration principle. You're going to pick up elements of that language. They are going to speak in their culture. They're going to see things through their cultural filter, and they're going to translate and communicate that way. And to finish, I wanted to share this story with you, what happened on that particular Sukkot. And he said in a loud voice, of course, a big crowd, it was just some kids standing up with lots of food spots. So let anyone who's thirsty come to me to drink, and I will give you rivers of flowing water coming out of the core of your being.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Whoever believes in me, as scripture said, rivers of flowing water will flow from you. That was Sukkot 38. And you were there. The Pharisees brought him the next day, as he was in the temple. He was in the courtyard of the temple, and they brought him a woman that was caught in the act of adultery. And they wanted him to condemn her, because they wanted to show what a hard place he was. They just wanted to prevent him to put it. Now, this is probably the best known parable about Yeshua. Is that, maybe? Pretty much.
One of, yeah.
Well, that does not appear in the earliest Greek text. It's not in the earliest 100 Greek text. It's not in the earliest 263 Greek text. It was not added for the 600.
Yeah.
And it was added, as the church fathers said, because it wasn't in the gospel. We have the parable in our Greek time today because it was in the gospel. So do I think it's authentic? Of course I do. So then we were gospel. The word. And they didn't know where to put it by this time. They didn't know Greek. So it ended up in John 8, 1 through 11. But most scholars say it's not Joe and the scripture. It's not the way he would what he liked.
Right.
So it obviously is in the church. It was probably in the Papias and several others that it was in the gospel. But we're back to 30 AD, where they are bringing this woman caught in adultery. And what they would do in the case of adultery, they remember that in the temple court, they would take them, in modern terms, they swear on the Bible that when you say the truth, right? In those days, they would take a cup of red wine, which represents what?
Blood.
And they would bring down on the cobblestones at the temple courtyard with the prophets of law, the prophets of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, and they take some dust from the temple courtyard with the prophets of law, and they would sprinkle it into the wine, and you drink the wine, and you would swear by the blood, the prophets, the law, the person of truth upon him to death. So in Yeshua gave them tons of input in gallons. I mean, not gallons, but incredible amounts of trees have been cut down to talk about what he wrote. Perspective. Every Hebrew there knew exactly what he was doing. He was preparing the chalice to challenge the Pharisees on the truth of what they said. Right? And what happened? It slipped away. Because they were believing, they were afraid, that of lying while drinking the blood of the prophet of the Yud-Heh-Vav. He said, when the master, if no one condemned you, he says, very well, master, says, no one sin anymore. But this was all taking place in the temple itself. And let us ask, what is it? It doesn't matter everything we know about Hebrew said it comes to us with the Greek culture, the different language, culture, and tongue.
It matters very much.
The story of the survival of the Hebrew Gospels and Messianic churches and there is so much that has to do with the there's so much documentation. And the rest of the story comes into the presence of one treatments. So I commend them highly. Questions, comments? Okay. You got it.
Paul's ministry was to the Gentile church, so we know his Episcopal. He did not have written his Hebrew. He was probably written in
Some of them.
Greek.
I assume so. I haven't seen any strong evidence otherwise, so there are people who can test that.
And you repeat the Peter.
Yes, he said Paul wrote mostly to Gentile. He is, although I do confess that they always went first to the synagogue.
Right.
Spoke to them.
Exactly.
They were welcome. They were a sect of the Judaic church. They were different, but they were accepted. The Jews are not anything monolithic. They're broken up in all the time. Paul was talking to him about it yesterday.
Yeah,
Even the Orthodox and broken up into so many factions. They
right.
all just trust each other, and they don't want to have anything to do with each other. They're afraid to rub off on them. They have their own positions, so that it's, you know, but they were accepted, what we call now called Christianity was a accepted sect of
Yeah.
Judaism. He would have gone to those, but I think he did have this mentality that he was reaching out to the Gentiles. Then they went to the Gentiles, and he brought thousands of Gentiles into the church. So I do think he had this mentality that he was there to reach out to the Gentiles and say that he did.
So we can assume then that what he did right is accurate, not because he, whereas we're talking about the Hebrew gospels compared to the Greek gospels.
And the Greeks can't edit Greek manuscripts.
Right.
Yeah, so we can't make medicine.
Okay.
There are things that we know that true.
Yeah.
So
And
we
then
can-
Peter, his ministry was to the Jews, so he would have written mostly Hebrew.
It's all the apostles would have accepted that. You know, they could have dictated to somebody very, very few letters that left possible. But Hebrews is sometimes they call them and they're just not a calling person. So it was, you get him first, you have not. What's your-
I was just going to make a comment, Gordon. Yeah. I was just going to make a comment that I think maybe we have a misunderstanding of the term Gentile in the New Testament. I believe Yeshua's mission was to take the Torah and go out into the world and find the lost tribes and bring them back in. And I think that when Paul went out, that's who he looked for first, at least. You know, he looked for these people who had some connection, that something that reminded them, but maybe it had been polluted, like the tribe of Manasseh that was found in India, where they would boil a rat or a mouse in their favorite clay pot about the time of the Day of Atonement every year, and then they would break the pot. And when they were asked by the rabbis why they did it, we don't know. It's just the way we always did it. You know, they took something.
That may have been part of that thing.
Yeah.
I don't really think. I think that most people just don't get. Yeshua during his entire lifetime went only to the Jews.
Yes, to the
There was
Yehudim.
a couple of times where he had contact with Gentiles, so big miracles.
Right, exactly. I think Yeshua definitely, yes.
Only to the lost of the children of Israel.
No.
It was only after his resurrection.
Right.
They were all
Yes.
the prophecies. And done everything, they opened up the franchise to the nation.
Yes.
To the Gentiles.
No, I believe his ministry was to the Jewish people,
Right,
definitely.
and true. I think
And-
they opened up the franchise to the Gentiles.
To the Gentiles later
Not
on.
just to the lost tribes, but anyone.
Yeah,
And
anyone,
that is
mixed
consistent
multitude.
with what we see in the entire Hebrew story. That the mixed multitudes that came
Mhm.
from Egypt,
Exactly.
they would have been long and so he did that. You know, so I don't think
Yeah.
it was exactly like that, but I'm sure they were aware that they can send the outside out there and they
Yeah.
assimilating to the population.
Right.
I haven't followed that with, you know, a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Probably will. Sometime. Oh, it's your question.
Three comments, actually. One is regarding the language to which Paul wrote. He had a retinue of people that traveled with him. Is it possible that he dictated in Hebrew and they did a live translation in his presence, because he wrote those languages work of the languages like Greek and
Yeah.
Roman.
That's absolutely possible. Sure.
And
Is that, there are people that argue that Paul didn't read it that well. So he couldn't have written it, he would have to run it by dictating to his
And one of the early church fathers attributes the translation of the book of Hebrews to Luke. So if Luke was credited by one of the early church fathers think it's first or second century, was translating it from Hebrew.
And he was parent of Roman descent. It was Luke who translated Hebrew.
And so there we have a witness that he particularly knew Hebrew and translated it
Yes.
into
Yes,
another
we have a
language.
witness that he was not a Gentile, they said.
Yeah.
But he was far too much about Jewish religion and culture to be a Gentile. The author of Luke is not a Gentile. He is very definite.
Three, in the opening verses of the book of Yaakov, aka the book of James, it says, in the first chapter,
This book of James. Our first publication of the
not King James, by the way.
Not right.
Yeah.
But it says, James, the servant, or Yaakov, the servant of God, and Sure, the Messiah, the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad greeted. So it's obvious right there. I mean, he states it. They're looking for the 12 tribes.
Yeah, I think they have to. In fact, Columbus sailed for the New World with a Greek map and a Hebrew translator expecting to encounter the
Yes.
tribes in the New World.
There's another fact we need to consider. Yaakov, after the church in Jerusalem was scattered, went to Spain, right?
Yes.
And which is where Santiago comes from. And Santiago, right?
So did Paul.
Mhm.
So, why did he go to Spain? Because there was a lot of Hebrews there
There
already.
were a lot of Hebrews and a lot of Mosaics.
That's why it's called the Iberian Peninsula.
Yes.
The Iberian Peninsula.
Ivri.
Ivri. Yeah.
The Iberian River is the boundary of that.
Mhm.
And the Iberian Peninsula is another one.
Yeah.
That was the earliest colonists in Spain were Hebrews.
Yeah.
So we actually have documents.
Yes.
We have tombstones.
Mhm.
Solomon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't see a pattern in all scripture I've studied where there's any pattern of denominations that we see today. Instead of just one church, and it was just noted by different cities where they met. Which, and now there's tens of thousands of different denominations within the world. It's just kind of years perpetrated. There's more and more.
It seems to present a facade of unity that they never really have. And it mentions it in Titus 1:14 that we don't just need to stop and do it together. And the commandments of men. So apparently, even back in the first century, they were doing takanot. And they were, remember that this is an Eastern country. And they were into Eastern religion, that all goes into Kabbalah is of Eastern origin. And many of the Orthodox sects, they believe in Kabbalism, which has nothing to do with scripture per se. So that this did not start today. They've always been this sort of divided among themselves. They were highly literate because of the commandments from Sinai, so they could read everything all over the place, and they became some of the best Hellenists writers and philosophers. They were everywhere doing everything. Any movement in history of humankind, and you'll find Hebrews in leadership positions on both sides. They just had this incredible curiosity and bought into all these Eastern religious
Yeah.
influences. So they never really were all that monolithic. We can name all the factions during the first century. The Herodian faction, the Hellenist faction, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the Messianic. Those are just some of the scenes. It's just a handful of the top ones on the list.
Yeah.
So they've never really been a monolithic religion anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple quick comments. If anybody really wants to study the history of all the persecution that went against these early followers of Yeshua, there's two good books that I read in the past, and one of them, you have to put aside the title, but one of them is called When Jesus Became God, and another one is The Jesus Wars. And the Jesus Wars. And when I read those two books, I thought, man, this Greek church, which became the Roman, I mean, Constantine was a great mind. He saw his empire falling down around his ears, and he said, hey, if I make it a church, maybe it'll survive. And then secondly,
That wasn't simple.
yeah.
That was simple. She was going to use the Christian religion as the state religion to use that an empire that go far too fast to be government.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and it did work.
Yeah. About 2,000 years now.
Long.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they broke off.
Yeah, true. The other comment I wanted to make was one of the reasons was the Romans saw them as just another sect of the Jews, and yes.
And they were actually called, Jesus was an adventure referring to what we're calling Messianic wars.
Yeah.
Every time a new leader came up like Bar Kokhba, Rabbi Akiva jumped out and declared him the Messiah. So every time when these rebellions came up, they would anoint the leader of the Messiah. And then you get killed, of course.
Oops, wrong one.
That's one of the reasons why Judas came.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
So the Messianic wars, so they were really afraid of the Messianics. They were afraid they were going to spread rebellion throughout the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And the Jews blamed them for the oppression that was given to them by the Greco-Roman Church because they do the gospel.
Right.
Which is not true in the letter. And the Greeks were trying to kill off the Messianics. The Hebrew Gospels are by far the most forbidden book in the history of humankind. The fact that they have survived is an incredible miracle of the hand of God. They have survived.
Right.
And they're tracking about 85 manuscripts.
Wow.
Artists have been, and we're not alone, but
Right.
artists have been published that in that these exist, and they are not copies, translations from the Greek or the Latin.
Right.
Most institutes have started realizing, maybe, because they always assume maybe the gospel is the translation. Right after not investigating it whatsoever. So they begin to think, well, maybe Hebrew Gospels that have done certain subjects are worth something. So then there's some other digitizing, but certainly not $1,500 a pop or $1,000. I know that there's some Bible thing. That's a lot of money. It's $1,300 for example. So we purchased.
Oh, wow.
Not the original.
Yeah.
So they're,
Now I have a couple of questions.
one.
One is, I'm just curious. How did they get access to the Vatican to get the Hebrew Gospels out in 1956? And when do they know how to go?
I asked them for a copy. Did they get it?
Okay, so they gave you a copy.
Yes, they did. I'm sure I wasn't the first one to ask, and a couple of people that had written about them before, but, they were very biased in their opinion of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can trying to undermine Christianity, which
Yeah.
they're not. They're obviously in awe of the Messiah.
Yeah.
They're not trying to undermine Christianity in the basic form. But it was 1956 when they were uncovered, and the Holocaust had changed a lot of attitudes, the harshness and incredible bloodshed of the Holocaust. It's a shame on humankind.
Yes.
Folks, this is just incredible. No one could be considered civilized to God's best, right? So they started reconsidering all things Hebrew and decided to start treating these manuscripts as something valuable in the questions rather than something to be hated and hidden under the book.
The reason I ask is, I know I've been to the bathroom, so a lot of things there are just like in the TV. They're just,
They
They're
do have
very-
secret archives.
they're very,
They're just not
very
secret.
secretive. you know.
They're not secret, but they are. I'm gonna, next time I go back and.
I'm sure the library is so vast.
Yeah.
I'm sure the library is so vast that they have no clue what's there.
Well, remember that, the one I showed you, and the Vatican Hebrew, AEBR is Hebrew, Vatican Hebrew manuscript number 530, it's a fragment. It's like an 11 by 17 sheet folded in half, so it has 4 pages on it. It happens to have the first chapter of Luke and the first chapter of John. Because you know, you fold it up with others. It's definitely fun. It's definitely from a complete manuscript.
Yeah.
That has not been found. There's got to be somewhere in the Vatican.
Yes.
What happens is, you know, these are old manuscripts. They lose pages all the time, and you don't know what it is. You found on the ground.
So you put it in a box.
So they put it in what they call the Vatican junk box.
Mm-hmm.
It's a collection of fragments.
Mm-hmm.
This is fragment number 11. So it's really one of the most important manuscripts I have in the Vatican. Because there's a new copy of the Hebrew Gospel. It's a new system, sacred name of God with all the text, vowel-pointing. It's got all the markers of the Hebrew manuscript in it that we know that we can find in extra pages. So it's very definitely when we haven't seen it before, that's from the same manuscript.
Right.
It's gotta be somewhere.
It's in there.
You gotta still start pulling books off the shelf.
Yeah.
What,
My other question was, you were talking about Matthew 27:51 about the mental growth. What was the Hebrew word there? You know?
you can look for mental? I don't remember.
I was just wondering, is that in your book?
Yes, it's in a book. It's in Hebrew.
Yeah.
You can put it into a translator.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what the word is.
Yeah, I know where she's going because it could have been just like in Revelation when it says Yeshua would have his name written on his thigh. The Greek word is dagel, and the Greek or the Hebrew word for, or the Greek word for one is riding on, and the other is for leg or banner and leg. So really, they took the resh and the dalet and confused them. So he's riding into war with his name emblazoned on his banner rather than on his thigh. But the difference between degel and regel.
It's in your book.
Something for clarification. Do you understand when you say that the Gospel of John is full of anti-Semitism?
Yeah, it's got more than 63rd person insertions on it. That was doing that by the Ledbetter. It says at the end of John, it's called the signature part. At the end, we talk about the author, and outside. It says, "This one gave us his testimony, and we know of his testimony in the church." Or just read this.
You're hosting, you know.
It talks a lot of times about the festival of the Jews.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. I actually have answer for that one that's not anti-Semitic, but
On those two books that you had up there, part one, part two, is that, is the part two, is that talking about today, what's coming?
All this survival of the Messianic throughout the centuries. And tomorrow, by the way, we're going to do another presentation on Sinai, which covers new information. And it's going to be almost completely different. We've done a lot of good work information. We're doing new presentation on the survival of the Messianic church. And we're usually throughout the century, it will go your way, if you're making. We will talk about that.
You consider that Messianic church to be a remnant?
Yep.
There's something called the New Covenant Church out there, remember? That is very complicated. I think they mean that you can throw maybe the Testament or all that. Right, exactly, yeah, but there's only one mention in Scripture, and that's in Jeremiah 31. And you're familiar with it? And there are two prerequisites to this new covenant business. Number one, I make a covenant with the tribe of Judah and Israel, 10 tribes in Galilee, in Israel, and the 2 tribes of Judah. What are we in those tribes? Maybe some of you are, maybe the rest of us are not. We have nothing to do with that covenant. We enter that covenant because we're grafted in by our belief in the Son of God. That grafts us into the tree of Abraham, equal to anyone else, not better than anyone else, but equal to. That's the first prerequisite. The second prerequisite is you must accept the Torah being written on your heart.
Amen.
Amen, yes.
Amen.
Those are the two prerequisites to be in this new covenant. You accept, you believe Messiah, you Son. She thinks, sorry, the capacity will not work. Yes.
Well, if Yeshua is God the Son, that is the Son of God, that is God, then, and he is the King of Israel, if you're grafted into Israel, and the Torah is the ketubah, the covenant, then we accept Messiah Yeshua, we accept the covenant by default.
Well,
Or
in practice, I agree with you theoretically, but in practice, a lot of people don't know what they so are. So how can you be accepting them?
I'm gonna go ahead and
So